Hey, I'm John Tabler. Welcome back. And today is actually, I'm not doing the fast anymore, but it's actually a week after I stopped. And the reason I did not make a video on the day that I stopped is because something happened in my last week that hadn't happened before. The last time, a couple years ago, I did a really long fast. It was 28 days. And I have a video where I'm basically there on the day when I stopped saying I could keep going longer. And pretty much it was easy the entire time. But this time, the first 21 days were easy. And I made a video right after. But right after that video on Sunday, my energy went out the door and it was no more. And I mean, that was a Sunday. And by the Monday, I really couldn't get out of bed. My energy just completely dropped. And this hadn't happened before. So whereas I have said in the past, it was continually easy and the hunger just completely went away. Really what happened, because I researched it in depth at that time, is that once you reach a certain point in the fast, it really then starts to get down. A good analogy would be where the rubber meets the road, or really starts to do the work. And at that time, your body's energy is completely down-regulated, where your body goes into full conservation mode. Now, I had plenty of body fat left and all these type of things, but my body just decided that it was going to completely shut down and heal. And so I really couldn't do anything. And I wasn't going to make a video on the last day. That Sunday, I was about ready to stop by the next day because I had zero energy. But when I really started looking into it and researched it on ChatGPT and on the internet and other things, it said that at that point between day 25 and day 30, 32, that's when the real healing takes place in your body. And at that time, it said that one day of fasting with bed rest where you do not get up, one day can equal 10 days in the early part of the fast. And so for me, it was incredibly boring because I really didn't have the energy to even go walk up into the other room and back. So I'd get water and just go back to bed. But I wasn't tired enough to go to sleep. But I'm telling you, at that time, you can't stand even the phone or anything you've been doing. It just seems like complete nonsense. You don't want to read. So it's a little bit like being locked in a jail cell with nothing in there because you don't want to do anything. But I wasn't really hungry. I just had zero energy. It just completely left. Well, it helps a lot to get online, like I said, and to listen to what's really going on, because it's not a harmful thing, but it's actually a healing thing. And I continued to, well, lose about a pound a day, but I could feel that really something was taking place pretty profound. And so I decided to stick with it, which I did. So where I was going to quit by the next day, I kept going. And that was the longest fasting week I've ever had because I was ready to be done with that because I had zero energy and it was incredibly boring. And no, I didn't work. There was no work being done or anything like that. You didn't even want to get up and walk. So that lasted the entire week. And I went clear till the next Sunday. So I actually went 30 and a half days. But the first 3 weeks I worked and did everything normal. And you saw the video that I put up. But I was actually going to make a video on the last day, on the Sunday, because I actually started on a Saturday night. So it went 30 to the Saturday night and then into the next day. And at that point, I had a meal of, let's see what it was, what I broke my fast with, really was, well, mushy vegetables, but initially it was just, I had some whey, which was probiotic whey, which is the white liquid when you make curds and whey right here that's on the bottom. And you had a little bit of that. Still, even now, it's been a week. And so what I really actually like is you take carrots and just boil them. And they're a great snack anyway because they're sweet, but not that many calories, and you put a little salt on them, and it's really excellent. Boil about 15 minutes. You'll see what I mean if you make those, because when you need to snack or anything like that, the calories are so low that it really, you won't gain any weight or anything like that. Now, I got down to 183 from basically 225, 224, 225. So it was over, like right at 41 pounds. Now, right away in the first week, even though I haven't had very many calories, your muscle and everything comes back. And so you're going to gain about 8 pounds, 9 pounds back. So now I'm not 183, I'm probably 192. And I'd like to actually go further. I'm not going to fast for a while, but it did the trick. And at that point, when it gets really hard, mentally hard, not like ultra hungry, but at that point you're burning ketones, you're in ketosis, and you have this weird odor or extremely dry mouth and these type of things. But I could feel that it was doing what it said it was supposed to do. And my energy was like non-existent. And so I basically just laid flat all day, which it said that's what you should do. And then just continued on counting the days, because I was going to go, if I could, I was going to go just a little bit further than the 28 that I had done previously. But it was an entirely different 28. That was like my first 21 days. That was easy. And the hunger did leave after 3 days. And no issues. It's just because I didn't go as far. And that might have been from doing push-ups and walking 15 minutes on the treadmill every morning for the first 21 days, which the very first time I did a fast, I didn't do any of that. There was none of that exercise type stuff going on in the last week. Forget that. I think probably maybe I would have been able to do one, 2 or 3 push-ups or something like that. So now I'm back to doing, I was doing in the 60s, but I don't know, you might call them not the very best form of 60s right now. It takes a bit to get your strength back. But the thing is that I was 224 and now I'm like 192, and I'm a completely different set of clothes, fits, and that's what I wear. And anything else that was going on in my body, sicknesses or inflammation and all these type of things, such a great remedy that it worked. It worked for that. And you see the progress so quickly. And whether or not you want to go that extra week or few days or whatever it is when your body finally reaches that point. But it takes a long time to reach that point. I was my first 21 days and it was easy. You say easy, but it wasn't anything major that I was having problems with. The last week, forget it. It was definitely difficult. It's just difficult to lay in the bed all day and stare at the ceiling. You don't want to read. You don't want to do anything like that. Or if you do, you only can do a little bit. And then you get sick of that, and you're sick of all the frivolous things that go on in day-to-day life. You look at that phone, you're looking at that, you're like, why am I looking at this? You don't even want to look at any of that stuff. So fasting does get rid of any habits you have on food, and it gets rid of other habits you might have that you just start recognizing as a complete waste of time. But when you don't have any energy, it's a long time seemingly to lay there, even one day from you get up at 8 and just being awake for that period of time. So one thing is you can take from that, other than it's going to heal your body, is if you ever know anybody that's in that situation, have some compassion on them and call them up or visit them, because being laying there like that isn't enjoyable. But when it's said that one day in that situation, fasting at that point can equal more than 10 days of any other time, I knew I had to try to at least give my body a chance to go through that period. And you can research that and take a look at it. But here I am. So I did my video a week from stopping. I almost was going to do one that morning, but you would have just seen me standing here like you know, not looking so hot. Maybe I would have put on a good face for the video. I don't know, but I was glad to be done with it at that point, because I'd never reached that point. And so therefore, to me, when the hunger went away and you're 28 days into it and you're still leaving, or you're still going, and it's not that hard, that's an entirely different experience than what I had for the last week. Now, starting to eat, you have to break into that very slowly and eat mush and things like that. But I adjusted pretty quickly. But it takes a while for your energy to come back. I only really started walking in the last 2 days. But prior to that, it takes a little bit for your energy to come back, and you gain back about 8 pounds. But that's a report of exactly what happened and the last week. And wow, I'm glad at least I had some food, and it wasn't like the times when people actually reached that point and still didn't have any food, and you know, whoever in history starved. You know, people like that would be not good. But there's a period of time there where your body actually gets healthier and healthier and healthier. And so now I feel a lot better. I feel way better this weight. Actually, probably be best to do like another 8-10 pounds. But what I'm going to do now is just start really looking at calories and trying to chronically slightly undereat. And, you know, if you look at eggs, for instance, if you take 1,500 calories a day, I mean, that's like about 80 calories to an egg on the high side. And so 12 eggs is shy of 1,000 calories. You could have like 18 eggs a day and still be at like 1,500 calories. So it's the things that you eat and you don't realize it, or oils and fats and things that get you up over 2,000 calories and more, that make you then start gaining weight. But I mean, if you want to do an extreme diet, you could just eat eggs and count them by the eggs. I don't think you're going to gain weight at 1,500 calories a day. That's a lot of eggs. So if you can do something comparable to that, you'll keep your weight down. I even thought there's a company called Factor. I noticed that has pre-packaged meals, and they're good too, and they actually look very economical because they make such a big amount for everybody for those meals. But you can easily count your calories like that until you get into the habit of it. Once you're in the habit of it, you'll know. It's just a matter of getting in the habit of it. And so that's what I'm going to do for a while, and see if I even get that extra bit of leanness from doing that, rather than going full bore onto a fast again. Although, you know, 2 and 3 days and 4 days isn't a huge deal. And really none of it was really a major deal until that last week hit. So that's what happened. Leave your comments down below. I wanted to give you a full report on what had not happened for me before. I hadn't really ever reached that point, but I did it. I went through it and really broke my record on that. Not that I was really needing to try to break a record. I was definitely going to listen to my body and do what was the right thing to do. And that complete energy wipeout, that wasn't a negative. It was actually a really great positive. So that's the report. Leave your comments down below. I'll see you in the next video. And hey, you know what? It's probably going to be some recipes and some food and things like that. But this is health and clean eating, so we got to cover the whole deal. And so that's the fast that I just finished, and I'll see you soon.